Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creative Cosmos, a podcast about art, media, fandoms, and beyond. I'm Seline Abanto, an illustrator that's worked for comics, and as you can tell by the length of this episode, is really into Disney's The Owl House. I guess I'm most known online for my Hunt Low fan art and just general Owl House art. So this podcast has been a passion project of mine for the past couple of years. And I just thought one day, like, hey, what if I invited friends and creatives I admire to talk about art and everything surrounding that? So, in this first episode, I invited three fan artists from the Owl House fandom to talk about us as artists and about the series finale of the Owl House. We can't promise to cover every single detail, but I guess we'll still have fun doing it, or we'll still try to have fun doing it. And without further ado, let's get started. So, could you guys introduce yourselves? Just like your name, username, and what kind of Owl House content you like to make?
Well, my name is Nicole. My username, like everywhere, is Astrolavas. And I make just general fan art. I think I just draw characters in situations, like small drawings, bigger illustrations when I have time, comics, doodles. Most of the time it's hunter related, but like if I have time, I also like love to draw all characters and yeah.
How about you, Riley?
Okay. Hi, I'm Riley. My handle is like RileyClaw across most platforms. I make a lot of animatics and animations, but I also do, general fan art, comics, and illustrations of basically everything. I don't like focus on one niche thing, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, awesome. And lastly, Mystic.
Hello, I'm Mystic. I also go by Mysticfiire on Twitter. I really like to make animatics and AU art, and I really like Huntlow.
Yes.
Maybe just a bit too much, no, but I really like just drawing the Owl House character. It's a whole bunch.
Okay, awesome. So I just wanted to ask, like, what got you guys into the Owl House? Like, what started it all? It's like for me, it was I've been here like since the very beginning. Like, I saw like the first post on Twitter, and it was like, storyboard artist from Gravity Falls is launching or is creating a show, and it's about like this human girl and this witch and this demon king, a king of demons, and that really got me hooked. So yeah, I've been here since the very beginning. But yeah, how about you guys? Maybe we can like go in the order of the introductions again.
I actually also saw like one of the very first announcements. I think it was back in 2019, and it was like I think it was on Comic Con because it was like maybe the intro or the poster were revealed, and I remember watching it and like being instantly like hyped for it because it was like everything I could love from a series. And yeah, and I just started watching it very casually at first and only got like more obsessed with it in like July 2021. And yeah.
How about you, Riley? How did you first get into the Owl House?
I actually didn't get into it until like last year. Like I had watched since I began watching around the time Enchanting Grom Fight came out, but I was more of a very casual viewer. I liked it, but I wasn't like into anything with it yet. But then season 2B started airing and I got super into it super quickly. And it just became a big fixation around the time Hotline Mind came out. It just pulled me right in and I've been stuck. I can't get out.
Kind of in the same boat. I had heard a lot about like the Grom dance episode, and people were really like going bonkers over it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll give this show, a try. And by the end of like Agony of a Witch, like the last episode, I was like, I was in. I was like, oh my god, I love this show. And then I just, just watched a whole bunch from there.
And we've been here ever since.
Yes. We can't escape.
So, like, what besides the show inspires you to make art? Like any like maybe specific music or like other shows or like maybe like design choices or just anything. What inspires you to make art?
Personally, I'm actually not sure if it's like one specific thing or like any specific things. Uh, I love like listening to music when I draw. It's mostly like 80s music or like post punk or like gothic rock, but it doesn't really show in like my art at all. So I doubt that would count. Uh, but just in general, I think I kind of subconsciously take maybe some inspirations from like shows I watch, like cartoons, maybe like digital artists I love. I really love also like looking at colors and like mm, color palettes, stuff like that. Like I really love focusing on that. So I feel like that's kind of where I am with like inspiration art wise.
I'm kind of in the same boat. There's like no one inspiration that I think I pull from. Of course, there's like animations and artists that I admire, but there's too many to name here. Um, I guess I really like looking up to artists who have like really graphic line work and really clean shading and coloring. Um, I guess artists I've always liked are like maybe Peter Wortman, Dana Terrace, which is not a surprise, but in my
Yeah.
defense, I followed her before I watched The Owl House. So I was excited, like, oh my god, she's making a show. I didn't know that. Watching other people's animatics and getting inspiration from those. Music too. I love making animations and stuff to music. So music is a big part of like I like drawing because I like timing things out to music because I like the big movie that's in my head and I want other people to see that too.
Music, yeah. I don't know what is it about music. I guess cuz like we're very visual people. So like music contributes to that like the opposite, like the audio side of it. Yeah. Cool, cool. How about you,
Yeah.
Mystic?
Absolutely. For me, it's definitely like musicals because like I'll listen to them, and of course I'm like, oh my god, what if I just threw these characters into it? In terms of inspiration, it's usually like content creators. Big one like Dana Terrace. I actually really love her art. I remember seeing like on Tumblr like her sketchbook drawings and the way like she draws anatomy. I'm like, whoa, that is crazy. I love it. But yeah, usually stuff like that and other creators.
Nice, cool. I guess for me, what what besides the show inspires me is just yeah, music also. I guess not any specific genre. Uh, I'm more into like I don't know, just any music with like deep or colorful lyrics. What else inspires me? Just I guess other shows too, other animated shows, and also like maybe just like general life experiences. I guess like we're done with like cool with the intro, and I guess we can like move on to the discussion of the finale. And I guess I want to like maybe start with like going by maybe each scene. I know like it might like take a long time to like go through every specific detail, but like yeah, maybe just like the major points, and then I at the very end I also want to get into like audience questions because some people commented on like the posts on Twitter and Instagram about this episode. Yeah, so like the episode starts with like the nightmare
Yeah.
sequences. Uh like Luz, she's like afraid that she's like just as bad as Belos, and like everything that happened in the show is because of her. Um and then like Ida and how she's and her fears, and then King and his fears. Like, what did you guys think of like that approach that the writers took, like to like dump the characters in like their worst nightmares?
Yeah, I feel like it really shows like it's very interesting how Luz is always like guilty, like she feels guilty for all of these things that weren't really her fault, or like the things that even those characters don't fault her for, but like she still kind of sees herself as like this villain in the story, even though she's not. And like yeah, like she's very different from Belos, but she also like fears that she's similar to him. Like it's interesting.
uh, I was like, I was really surprised by Ida's dream. How like she just kind of made peace with the owl beast that's inside of her, and this dream kind of brought to light that she's still kind of like afraid of it, like at least internally maybe, where like her nightmare was her attacking her dad again, attacking Dell,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they
Oh my
had just
gosh.
begun to trust her again in this dream, not in like the actual show, of course, but like in her nightmare. Like the worst possible thing happened where she attacked her dad, and it was like everyone turned on her for it. Like seeing that sequence was just like so intense to me, and I thought that was like a really interesting way to show like, I don't know, what's going on inside Ida's head, especially because we haven't seen a lot of it since that episode. What was it? Uh, oh, the big
Yes.
episode.
No,
I forgot its
That
name.
one. I get
knock
That
it.
knock
one,
Yes.
knock knock knock.
the
You know
Hootie
what
one.
is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fake fan. I don't know the name of it.
Oh, the way she's like being perceived as like what she thought perceived as a monster again, or what she felt
Yeah.
like when she was a kid. I thought like
Oh,
that was like interesting. It killed me. I'm like, Eda, no, it's not them. Yeah. Oh, and then King with like
oh my
the winged
god.
skulls. I was like, oh whoa, we're like being brought back to that stage again. I was like, wow.
I
Hmm.
honestly am surprised that they even like when there's like this little moment when Del, like Ida's dad comes out and he's like all blooded and stuff. Like I'm surprised they showed that. Like,
I
how did
know.
Disney let them?
I mean, to be fair, we have seen like Belos just turn into a skeleton and goo, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, like
dang, they're going all out.
here is a Grimwalker melting. Here is Belos's hand falling off. Just casual stuff.
They really went all out with the last season.
Yeah.
I know.
They did. I'm so glad that they did though. Like, I like that they didn't hold back on any like mature themes or like any like showings of like sounds dark, but like blood and skeletons. It's like whoa, like you can tell like oh my god, Dana with the whole horror stuff. I'm digging it.
So I saw this one. There was this theory or mini theory that the puppet forms of the other characters, uh, in Hex Squad were like all based on King's stories or how the collector sees them. Like for example, Amity is like Luz's girlfriend, and Gus is King's co-host, and then it's like how King views each person or how the collector views each person. Like when I rewatched the episode, Lilith doesn't have her red hair; she has her dark hair. So I thought that was an interesting choice, and she was in her season one outfit, not her like current outfit.
Honestly, like the whole like design of the characters that were puppeted back then is interesting because we can see like that they're kind of in like their season one or season two outfits, but with like their present selves, like visualized. Like for example, like Hunter has his own hair and scars and but pink eyes, and the outfit from season two, and like Willow also is wearing like the Hexside uniform, but has like the, the pigtails, and there's Lilith with like her dark hair, even though they're short and curly. So yeah, it's interesting how it like connects.
So when Luz is like zooming through the castle, she passes by this stained glass window or portrait.
Yeah,
And originally it was like Belos, but it was replaced by Luz. Like
yeah,
Luz replaces Belos, and like I think her face or her mask, I think it looks like an owl to me. Like it's like round and then short beak. Yeah, like all the little details. It's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So yeah, after that, we moved on to like collector and his games. Like that game sequence. So then Luz and King and Ida reunite, which was like so cute. And I watched the episode with my friends over Discord, and then we lost it when Luz said, "Get over here, you witch." I love how like they insert like jokes like that, um, and the Pac-Man sequence and like how the game the games that the collector was playing was like maybe based on like traditional games like marbles, Jenga, was that Pac-Man, these traditional like childhood games. And then I also want to talk about the well, like the archivists also, like calling them like the archivist, like the name archivist as like a more mature version of like the name collector. So yeah, I want to like, what are your guys' thoughts on like all that? So like the reuniting, and then like the collector and the archivist's relationship and his backstory.
I feel like it's so interesting because, like, even though you can see that the collector is really just a kid, like, they're not evil or like bad or something. They just don't get some things. Like, they don't really understand death, and it's interesting because even like we've seen in Hollow Mind, where he's like, laughing at like Grimwalker's deaths and stuff like that, and now we know that like he just didn't get that they were killed. He probably just thought that they were, like broken, and then Belos was like fixing them because like
Oh
they
my
looked
gosh, yeah,
similar.
I didn't realize that.
The fact that he didn't realize, like, didn't comprehend like the concept of death until
Oh.
Luce's death, and it's like, oh
Yeah,
my
Oh,
goodness, he can't fix her, because you can't replace or fix death, it's infinite. Yeah, it's definitely like, heartbreaking.
there's also like the thing that the archivists like took away the small titans, and it's like kind of implied, I think, that they might have not taken them, just yeah, just also got rid of them, I think, or and the collector just didn't comprehend death, so he didn't like actually know what happened to them, and he still didn't know what death was until Luz couldn't be brought back.
yeah. I was like really surprised when we started getting a collector backstory. Like I was kind of expecting it, but it was also like a really nice surprise and seeing that like seeing exactly how the collector got locked up when it wasn't their fault what was happening. They had no idea that the archivists were taking away quote unquote the titans. They had no clue that the archivists were like kind of pulling these strings behind the scenes, and he got locked up for it. The Papa Titan, as you know, we've begun calling him, thought that the collector was responsible and locked them into that in between dimension and hid King's Egg away from everyone. I know that one of like the central themes of the Owl House is grief,
Yeah,
and I thought it was like really impactful how they introduced the collector to grief by
Oh.
having Luce die right in front of them. It was like, what's the best way to introduce mortality to somebody who doesn't understand mortality? Just give them like an upfront demonstration.
how do you
Oh
show death to
It
a
was
no.
so
child?
hard to watch.
Kill the
No,
protagonist,
for
right?
real. It's like, this is a good way to learn.
It was a brutal way to do it, but like considering like the show's central theme of like, I don't know, I just know that grief is a huge part of like the Owl House story
Mm-hmm.
because it all began with Luce's.
Yeah,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
yeah, like,
Oh.
it's so, because like we can see grief in so many different characters arcs, like in Luz with her dad, like how it even like starts her love for Azura, and basically jump starts the whole story, and it's present in like the overall theme of everything and the whole arc of her and Camila. We can see like Camila also really like is affected by it. We can see it even in like Belos, but in like a negative way, because we can see that he didn't cope like with grief well at all, because he couldn't like
Mm-hmm.
get over it. Because it's hard to say, it's hard to even call it grief, but it was in a way, because he was completely like obsessed with his brother and just kept remaking him, and wanting him to go back to how he like wanted him to be, not how he actually was. But yeah, and we all, moving on, we also like see grief in Hunter's arc with Flapjack, and we can see like how it affects him, and like how he puts up this wall of like
Mm-hmm.
you know
No, I agree. It's so interesting because when we think back to Bellows, this grief. I love what I love about the Owl House. It's just grief, like in different ways. And with Bellows, it was really prolonged. Like you think eventually, a few hundred years, she's like, maybe I shouldn't make more Grimwalkers, especially if they're turning on me. But you know what? Nah. You know what?
Oh my
100's the
gosh.
charm. Let's go for it. No, but yeah, it's like interesting, like, like the obsession, and it's like, oof,
Yeah.
my guy.
It's like even nice in contrast how we can see that like Luz and Camila and Hunter and even Darius and the Collector like overcome the grief and kind of cope with it in healthy ways, but Belos never does that, and we can see that like he never moves on from his brother, and it like brings on his doom and everything. And yeah,
I think the Owl House like shows that grief can affect people in different ways. It can change you as a person. I guess so like what happened next in the episode was like Belos possessing the Titan's heart, which like a lot of people predicted online. I was for a long time I was like wondering like why is the Titan's heart still beating if it's like already dead? Like is Belos like powering it with some electricity or
yeah,
something? Like artificial magic, but I think it's because the Titan was still alive. I think because Papa Titan was like in the in between realm. I think
yeah,
that's why the heart was still beating. Like that's my theory. Oh man, like the way they design like the fungal infection, it's like very Last of Us esque,
Ooh.
creepy. It's like very perfect
yeah,
for Belos as a character. After like when during that possession of the Titan, then we cut to like Luz and Ida and King, like on the knee with the Collector, teaching them kindness and forgiveness. And I kind of knew where that was
yeah.
going. Um, like the kindness and forgiveness part, as like as
Mm.
modern animation fans, I
Oh,
think we would know.
bad timing.
He tried pulling a Steven Universe.
You can make a difference.
You can make it different.
So yeah, on that note, the Collector like approached Belos and said, "Oh, all you need is kindness and forgiveness." And obviously, yeah, that didn't work. Um, and then like I want to like ask like what were your thoughts on like the Owl House like flipping like turning that trope on its head, like the kindness and forgiveness thing, like everyone deserves kindness and forgiveness, but like Belos is different.
Yeah, I loved it. It was such a good spin because, like, not every character deserves to be redeemed, especially like cases like Belos and you know what, even Odelia. Like, I'm glad that they didn't like in case like make her like, oh my god, it's okay, mom, I forgive you, or like back to Belos. He can't change as a
Mm-hmm.
person, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad that they addressed that.
Yeah, I feel like the Collector versus Belos is such a good example of like redeemable or like not really bad antagonist versus completely irredeemable and just like protagonist antagonist who cannot change, because all of like everything that Belos has done is like his own fault. It's his own doing, and he doesn't want to change, and he will never change. So I've been seeing like lots of even like theories that like, oh yeah, Belos will be somehow redeemed, or like he will get another chance, or like he will, I don't know, be imprisoned and tortured and stuff like that. And it's like none of that would really work, because the thing is that he can't be redeemed, he can't get better because he doesn't want it. And imprisonment or like torture wouldn't work on him either, because he's already like torturing himself his whole life just by sole existence, and he doesn't care, like his goals matter to him more, and all of that. Like the only thing that truly worked for Bells was getting rid of him. So like I'm really glad they did that, and yeah, and it really is like a good message that not everyone deserves forgiveness or a second chance, because or like a hundredth chance, because truly Bellows has been doing things that he has been doing for a long time. So yeah,
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly. I wanted Belos to, uh, be this unforgivable antagonist. I didn't want him to have this chance at redemption or anything. Because, not to make like a FNAF reference or anything, but if they had gone the route where like he got stuck in like a jar, like I see people joking about, or put in prison, he would always come back.
Yeah.
His corruption of the Isles would always still be there, and like you really began to see in the end of the episode that with Belos gone, the Isles can finally heal. It had been affected by his presence since the moment he stepped into the Isles,
Yeah.
and it began to hurt the Isles, hurt the Titan hiding glyphs from him, knowing that Belos would be this horrible, horrible figure on the Isles, and the Emperor and everything, the Day of Unity. I think that Belos needed to be shown once and for all as this character who was beyond any kind of forgiveness and redemption, because he doesn't deserve it. He never has.
If Belos, remained imprisoned or whatever, then like characters that have been personally, traumatized by him or like hurt by him would never truly like know peace. Like for example, V or Hunter, or many other people, probably many characters would probably always be somewhat paranoid that he would like come back because he did this and literally thanks to them. And yeah, so I'm glad he's gone. He never deserved any kind of redemption. He never deserved to live, and any kind of punishment wouldn't work on him. So yeah.
Yeah. Like on that note, I feel like Belos and his arc and like his downfall is, I don't know if it was like on purpose, but it reminds me of like how very negative and toxic behaviors in our society, well, we live in a society, like in our
Society.
society, like should not be allowed, or we should like dismantle like toxic mentalities or harmful ideals. And I think Belos, he's a representation of that. So next is Luz protects the collector from Belos, and yeah, she dies just like for a few moments, and I was like really shocked when that happened. And then she goes to the in between realm,
Yeah.
where she meets Papa Titan, and he has like a hoodie growing out of his eye, and he's missing one eye. He's like in this really cool, like comfy attire. He's just this guy, this gender fluid icon.
Woo!
Woo, yeah. There was this there are these like conversations that I've seen online, how Hootie is like this parasite, like, or like a worm that was sent that was sent from like from the Titan to like watch over King, because like it's like, look at the thing growing out of his eye, like looks like Hootie. Like, is that like, I don't know, Hootie's backstory?
Yeah, I still don't
I
know what it means.
Yeah,
honestly, Huda is still a mystery. I don't know what his deal is.
yeah.
Like, what?
Does anybody know what Hootie's deal is? I think he's just doing his own thing at this point.
I think even he himself doesn't know it. Like,
I don't think he knows either.
He's
I
just
think he's just a
Hootie.
silly little guy who's a
I love
worm.
that for him.
Silly little guy. So yeah, and then like all this time, the Titan has been watching King like through the cubes.
yeah.
Just like it puts into perspective like a lot of things that happened in the series, like that time when King did like a live stream, and like he to send a message to his dad. But then also like the conversation that the Titan had with Luz, and how Luz was like doubting herself, like if like she is just as bad as Belos, which she's not. Like, or she thought that their intentions came from similar places. Like Luz wants to protect her family, and like Belos wants to, I don't know what Belos wants. His actions are not genuine. Yeah, I was like wondering like what were your thoughts on that whole conversation, or like any other like small details that I probably missed about like the Titan or that scene.
I thought the part where like when Luz had just died, turned into that fungus and like evaporated. I think I cried once during the episode, and it was during that scene. It was like a shocked cry where you see the orbs of light call back to thanks to them when Flapjack evaporated.
Oh my
Um
gosh, yeah.
when those light orbs began to fly over the Isles and the music swelled, I lost it. I thought it was so awful, like awful in a good way, but awful when the orbs made it all the way over to the archives and was reaching Hex Squad, and you
Oh
saw the
yeah.
Camila puppet
Oh
begin
my
to
god.
cry. Because
Oh.
even as a puppet,
Oh.
Camila could sense that great loss she just had. I lost it.
They were evil for this. Foul.
I couldn't handle that. But
Yeah. Oh my
man.
god.
And then, of course, they finally end that sequence by showing Luce's, like, the orb enter the in between, and you see Luce meet the Titan. That whole sequence was just, again, back to the grief thing. They put me through each stage of
Yeah.
grief in that, like, 30 seconds of sequence. I,
Went through the whole 5 stages.
literally.
Acceptance.
I loved the little parallel because if you think back to season 1, remember when Ida was like, "Why wait around for a prophecy when you can decide yourself?" And then the
Mhm.
Yeah.
like King's dad, Papa Titan, is like, "Well, that's for you to decide if you'd like my power." And it's like it's just nice because it's not all about like prophecy and destiny. It's about choice, and it's like, it destroyed me. Especially like the scene where like when Lewis accepts his power, and then we're overwhelmed with this music and intensity, and then we see like his true form, and I'm like that left me the most like stunned and emotional because it felt like everything's at high stakes now.
What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, I would say it's just like a nice sequence because it lasts honestly for like a moment, and even for like a second you start thinking like they wouldn't, would they? Like they wouldn't. Like
I was
they
worried.
wouldn't, but like would they? They didn't. Like we all knew they wouldn't.
There's like this parallel also with like Luz like sinking into the in between with Hunter in
Yeah,
Thanks to Them going down to, oh man, the river.
literally the perspective of like different shots and stuff like that, it directly like parallels that moment of like Hunter drowning, and yeah, and him like being like get out of the water versus Luz
Mhm.
being also like picked up by the by Titan's dad, King's dad.
I did not realize that, and I was like, I'm connecting the dots. I'm like, they did not. Oh my god. No,
They
but you have me
did.
Yeah.
ruined right now.
They did.
Oh yeah, when like Luz died and then she turned into the orbs, I thought that she would actually go to Flapjack and maybe see Flapjack. I don't know. I just thought it for like a split second, and then no, he's in Hunter's heart now. What?
I was actually thinking about that one ball that like the collector was holding, because like at first he like caught it, and the other balls like flew away, and I was like, oh, should maybe it's best that he holds onto it, like maybe he can somehow bring loose back from this singular ball. In the end, it's good that like he let go of it, because I feel like maybe if he hadn't, then Luz wouldn't like actually, reform in the in between realm, and that would have been bad. Maybe it also works as some kind of metaphor of like letting go or something, even though like in this scenario it might be more up for interpretation, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I love all of you guys' ideas, like about everything, like everything. Like it's so far, it's been so good. So yeah, like after that scene with the Titan, we get Titan lose, and her design. I was so
Yeah.
shocked when I saw it, and like how in that moment, her king and Ida had similar eyes, like black with yellow. I don't
Oh.
know, irises. Yeah, they had similar eyes in that moment, and then like it was giving very much like deviant art, OC look in a good way because she's loose and like with the wings and the dark eyes and the dark magic.
You leave
This
her
is my
alone.
DeviantArt OC. Do not steal.
Oh my god. Not only Lewis was a DeviantArt
Titan
kid, and
Sona.
Hunter was a warrior cat slash wolf kid.
Exactly,
he
exactly. You get it.
he made like he made like a very self-indulgent persona that was a wolf, and then someone was probably like, why did you give this wolf all of these scars and pink eyes or something? And it's like, I when it comes to like this scene, I honestly love the animation and like the designs and everything so much. Like I feel like the crew did like such a good job on all of this because it's like so good. Like the animation is so smooth and like all of the perspectives and like the shots, the frames, the background and like the effects. It's so cool.
And then I also liked how the magic the Titan gave was just temporary. Like I don't
Yeah,
think for me personally that it wouldn't be that interesting if she kept that magic. Because I think like what makes Luz amazing and her character and her story is that she doesn't have magic like everyone else, and she does magic in her own way. What do you like? Any thoughts on that, or like the design, or like anything about that?
Ooh, the design. I love the design of Titan Loose. When all those like concepts came out like very recently, like I think it was yesterday or the day before, of all the
Yeah,
concept art of Titan Loose, they were so cool looking. Like I
yeah,
really like the one that they went with, but man, that the whole like idea of like Loose becoming this like Titan form. I don't know if it's very anime-ish. I've never seen anime, but I feel like it has some like magical girl obtained powers thing. But I did like how she powered down at the end because at the end of the day, she is loose of the human realm, student of the demon realm, but she's still loose the human, and that's what makes her like such a powerful character in the Owl House. Is that
yeah.
she doesn't have magic, but she is one of the most powerful people on the Isles. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
you
True.
don't need to have like actual magic to truly matter or to do magic or stuff like that. Like it's the whole point, kind of like we see it with Luz, we see it with Hunter, we see it with like other characters with Ida. Like it's really just, and it's also like such a good metaphor to so many different things, like neurodiversity or like disability, all of that stuff. Like it's really good. Yeah.
agree. Especially thinking back to her design, I like to think that like her long hair is like her embracing her inner child, because when we think back to when she made those video logs or like for her journal, we see her when she's really into Azora as a kid. She has like she's a kid, long hair, and it's like it makes me think that, oh my god, she's living her dream of being a witch. Bro, I was getting so emotional with the fight scenes. I'm like, yes, show him.
Yeah. Also, like we got the I am good witch loose this time, like a throwback. That was neat.
Yeah, I think like a segue into like that like that line, like the boss battle scene with oh man, like the design of Monster Belos was so crazy. And then like the whole like the animation was so cool, and like all the different callbacks of like what has happened in the like the previous seasons. It was really really cool to see. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we haven't talked about Rain this whole time. um how like they found Rain in like enveloped in like Belos's like
Yeah,
fungal like his in he was like they were like encased in something, and then they were whistling Ida's Requiem.
yeah,
And when I first saw that scene, it was like, oh man, chills. It was so eerie to see. And then like the reuniting with Ida was like so sweet. Yeah, and then like Luz finally confronting Belos. Like, what were your guys' thoughts on like the whole boss battle scene? Um yeah, all of that.
Ooh, animation pretty. Animation pretty.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
animation nice.
I remember I was asking around on Twitter, like, guys, who animated that? I have to know. And then I think recently Rebecca retweeted, like one of the artists who like animated it. It is so gorgeous. I'm like,
Mhm.
Yeah,
oh my god, I want to be an
Mm-hmm.
animator. It's definitely inspiring.
I love the VFX, like the use of color with like all the glyphs, like blue ice, the red fire, the green of plants, and then Luce's VFX, which are like this beautiful like purple orange galaxy-ish combination. Like the entire finale, I was just blown away by the VFX in it too. Like her
yeah,
powers with a Titan combined with King's and then Ida's, and the entire like way that the others like Ida, Rain, and King were all fighting with Luce to like prevent all the Belos lichen or goop or whatever it was. This living ugly little goop thing that kept crawling up on them. How they were like protecting Luce as she like attacked Belos at the Titan's heart to pull him out. That whole sequence was just awesome to look at. They really like what's the I
Yeah,
forgot the
they
term I
went
was going to
off.
use. They went all out basically.
They ate and they left no crumbs.
Yes.
It was so cool, like seeing the boss battle and like the animation and like all the hard work that the crew put into that sequence and the whole episode and the whole show. I guess skipping ahead a little bit, then we reach like Philip's demise and how he was defeated. And I know, or I've seen like other people mention that they wanted his death to be related to Caleb, Evelyn, and also Hunter. And I agree, but I think the crew did what they could with the limitations that they had. Um,
Yeah,
and also like the part like how Philip was defeated, and it's like a killing your oppressor kind of thing, storyline downfall. And also commentary also on the forgiving the antagonist trope, and how
yeah,
we should not, like what I said before, like not tolerate like these toxic mentalities and toxic ideals in our world. And how Luz did not give a damn and did not speak
yeah,
a single word to Philip, like even when he was like crawling. But yeah, like, what were your thoughts on like all that, like Philip's downfall?
yeah. I honestly like it's very interesting, and you know, Belos core, how like even in his like final moments, that thing that he is doing is still manipulation and like trying to get out of this by like lying and trying to make himself be to be like this poor cursed soul, who now knows better, and like the way that he actually thought that it would work and all of that, because like I like that he died while not having actually succeeded in anything.
I like that Belos died a very pathetic death. I re- I liked that he died that sounds so dark, but it's true. I like that, he tried to like appeal to Luce, like we're human, we're better than this, and then the boiling rain revealed that he is still the same ugly monster that he's always been. As he like crawls over to her and she steps away, like no, I'm not like you. I'm not like you at all. They might both be human, but Belos hasn't been human for a long, long time. Not really. And having him go out being stomped by two witches and a baby titan was pretty satisfying because I wanted to see that he didn't think he died a martyr for what he did because he doesn't deserve that. He went out knowing that he did not succeed, that he didn't do anything to eradicate witch kind or whatever, that his mission was not
Hmm.
successful, and he got stomped by an 8-year-old.
Also, like with this shot when we can see like Luz, in front of Belos, like looking down at him, like similarly to how we've seen Caleb look down at him, and like for the future, like the hallucination and stuff like that. Like it's also a nice parallel.
Yeah, I agree.
Good soup.
Oh man, I didn't get the chance to like talk about this like earlier. I think like the Hex Squad was separated from Luz for like majority of the episode, and they were like in the
Yeah,
archives, and like how Amity traced out like the light glyph and like as a puppet. And I think at first I was like, how does something as simple as a light glyph like overcome the collector's magic? And I think it's because it's Titan magic, like Titan magic
mm,
overcomes collector magic. So I thought that was a cool detail. And then how they lost their, like their magic was weakened for a little bit, so they had to use the glyphs. Um, and then also how collector went to, I guess went to like rescue them, in a sense, like to holding up the archives.
yeah.
So he like, I guess, turned a new leaf, and tried to like help out. So yeah, what were your guys' thoughts on like like Hex Squad using glyphs and then like rescuing the puppets, like, and then like all the, and also like the little interactions with like the palisman, the while Luz and the others were like fighting Belos.
I have a Hex Squad bias, so they're like all my favorite characters. So I've wanted them to have like a bigger role, but I also see that with the the shortening and stuff like that, they had to kind of focus on the O family, who are like, the core of like the show with like season one and stuff like that. So I get that, but still would have loved to see more content of them. But yeah, I love them using glyphs. Like, it was something that I've wanted to see for so long. Like, we've seen them use glyphs before, but to do it again and to do it, like as a group and stuff like that. And we see this little like moment of, for example, I think Amity using plant magic, and then like Willow using fire magic, that are kind of like swapped and stuff like that. And we see Hunter using an ice glyph to save Gas's palisman, and like, yeah, it's cool that they got to use glyphs again.
I like that Camila remembered like what Luz had taught her, like with the little notepad, and like she's like,
Yeah.
I think I know how to help. I'm like, yes, mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot on Hex Squad's presence in the finale. I too am biased toward Hex Squad. I really like all the characters in Hex Squad. So I was a little sad we didn't get to see a little more of them, or we didn't get to see a big reunion of the entire Hex Squad at the end, aside from the epilogue.
Yeah.
But I realized something. I was like, they're probably much safer in the archives than they would have been in that big fight. Like, they're powerful, but
Ooh.
that was a big monster, and Ida and King were on a rampage.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was like, when the collector said, I'm going to keep everyone safe in the archives, like, wow, they really were keeping everyone safe from the Isles in the archives while the Titan was literally coming back to life as Belos possessed it. That was probably the safest place for everybody in the archives. And then when the archives began to become endangered, the collector ran in to try to save it and save all the puppets and Hex Squad inside. And I
Yeah.
liked when they realized that the collector was there to help and that they didn't see him as this scary figure anymore, that he was really trying to help that protect them
Yeah.
from whatever Belos was doing outside.
I was so concerned
Yeah.
that the collector was going to like die though, because I had also seen
Oh,
like the goop fungal like spreading on their hands. I'm like, oh no.
I
I,
was worried about them too.
yeah, I was
They
like,
killed the
oh, don't
child.
tell me they're gonna
No!
go out. No,
Not the
no,
child.
Don't hurt the child.
don't hurt the
Don't hurt the
do not
child.
the
Save them.
child.
I do wonder what
Yeah.
happened to that fungal growth though. Like, did it just stop when Belos?
It just like
I guess it like went back to itself or
I
something.
guess because
evaporated.
it just went
Eventually.
away. Because I
Like
wonder. I don't
ashes.
remember exactly. Did we see it affecting the collector's power at all? Like, were they weakened by it?
They,
I didn't
I
really
mean, like they
notice.
were like shown at the very last like moment, like they were struggling to keep the archives up. But I don't know if it because they were,
Yeah.
trying to keep a whole entire building, or like because of the like
Yeah.
fungus, affecting
Mm-hmm.
their power. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are a god. So, and like a god versus like a building. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
It might have also been just like, the mental kind of, hurt too, maybe something like that.
That kid's just been through so many new emotions he's never felt before. When the collector
Yeah.
began to
Yeah.
cry after Luce went away and the like Ida and King were freaking out. Oh, and he's like, "What is this stuff?" I was like, "No, they don't know what tears are. Now they're doing it for the very first time."
Poor Blurble.
Poor little EP.
So guys, we hit like the 1 hour mark, so I'm gonna like I wanna like maybe skip to like the epilogue. I know like the epilogue is like so jam packed.
Okay.
We could like talk for another
Oh,
hour
there's.
just about the epilogue. But
Yeah.
so first thing that I did it well, I guess I didn't notice right away, but I can't believe I didn't. It was like the sky changed color. It was like the same color as how it was when before Belos became emperor.
I
It
never
was
noticed
like I
that.
think it was like
Really?
blue before. It was blue before, and then it
Is it blue again? Wait.
Wait, I never noticed that.
I'm like frantically looking on like the owlclub.net like in the episode just to see what.
Someone drop a tag with this in it because I have never noticed this
Oh,
before. Ah,
I just know that like when we see kind of like the city shot, when like Hunter and Willow are flying on the sky, we can see that there are no more like pollution. There's no more pollution and stuff like that we see like in, I don't know, season 1 or 2 in the Boiling Isles. But we see something kind of similar to how it was like, hundreds of years ago. But I didn't notice the sky.
I have the
Like it
epilogue
was
open right
it was
now.
like bluish, well, like when Luz and Lilith went time traveling. And then like, oh man, so many things happen in the epilogue. Like feel free to like add on if I missed anything. But then like the collector, I know a lot of people were confused, I guess, about the collector leaving the Isles and like returning to the stars. And I've seen like different perspectives on that. And I guess I personally would have liked to see him more settled in the Boiling Isles, or like at least like be more around. But well, they do come back like at the quinceañera, which is good. So at least we know that they're still present in the area. Oh yeah, that one part in the epilogue when Luz like tapped on the glyph and it wasn't working because like the Titan magic was gone. Um, I wrote down the quote that she said. It had helped me find my place when I had no other way. A whole new chapter of my life was over, and I feel like that's like the fandom's relationship to the
Yeah.
show,
Hmm.
and how it has affected like so many people in good ways. How it's over, but it has like left like this impact on us, and a new chapter begins. And then like Luz going to college, and then like all the details like on her desk and the Polaroids about like what
Yeah.
happened after like the big battle, and also like all the new looks
Oh.
that everyone got, like the aged up characters were so cool to see, like all the details. Like I want to watch like that epilogue scene over and over again. uh and then Ida is like the headmaster of what's the university called, University of Wild Magic. Just so cool to see. She has a hook, like Captain Hook energy. Also like the flapjack tattoos that
Oh.
everyone
Oh,
got, man.
that was my.
Everyone got it on, I think, one like the same side of their body, but Hunter got it on where his sigil used to be,
Yeah,
which is like a really good cover up tattoo.
it was my biggest delusion from like
You called it.
year ago. It was my
Yes,
biggest.
you called
I
it,
was
I
and like so
remember
many
so
other people called
I
it.
was so surprised because like I remember making like a future design or something, or like future predictions or something, and I always like kind of had canoned that like Hunter wouldn't really like to look at his coven sigil because it's something that like used to bring a lot of pride to him, but like now it's just like a reminder of Belos and his time in the coven and everything that happened and stuff like that. And I always like the idea of him either like covering up or just getting something else in this place, and that it would be like a flapjack tattoo because it's something that really like matters to him. And I was like, he came with this tattoo in the epilogue, and I like screamed mentally. It was like my biggest delusion, along with Palisman Carver Hunter. But yeah,
I I remember seeing your art for that, Nicole, and I was like, oh, and like when that scene happened, I was like pointing at the screen like, Nicole, it's true, it happened.
And then what else? What other details? Alador made this like tech to remove the coven sigils.
yeah,
And they're using healing magic to do it, which I think is perfect. Um, and then like all the little scenes like Darius and Alador and how that crack ship is sailing. Oh man, Hunter's new palisman, Waffles, and like how
waffles.
Baby.
they like
I love
visited like the
waffles.
grave. And then one more thing before I let you guys like
Yeah,
like spill your thoughts, like that really smooth animation of Huntlow like
yeah.
going down the hill, like that's so, it's so perfect, it's so beautiful. I like to replay it over and over, and how like they're
It's so good.
finally canon.
I really love that they like made that scene so smooth. I'm like, yes, it meant a lot. Man, I just love the designs because I think they really reflect on the characters. It's my absolute favorite.
I really liked the epilogue. Whenever I think back on the epilogue, I'm filled with like such a sense of like contentment over it, like happiness. Like my headcanon of Hunter becoming Dell's apprentice fulfilled. Willow
Yes.
is probably a professional flyerby player or plays a lot more extensively than like she did as like a school extracurricular. Gus is
Yeah.
teaching about the human realm, probably going to become an ambassador for Between the Realms. V has a T-shirt that has the same logo as Gus's like human realm, demon realm thing. Uh,
Yeah.
Ida being the headmaster, Rain working to help remove the sigils, and I saw a tweet. I forget who wrote it, but something saying that Rain is probably like in a kind of a little position of power with like little Titan ribbon on their vest and everything. I don't know. I just love the epilogue so much. I think back and I tear up so happily.
Whenever I think about the epilogue, I just like start running on the walls. Like it's so yeah. For example, I really love like the little Polaroids. Like for example, the Grom one is so good. I love that
Yes.
they went to Grom again,
So
and
good.
Oh my.
oh no.
Okay, wait. For context, like Riley just pulled up a printed version of the Grom Polaroid, and it's like as big
Oh
as
my god.
someone's head,
It
Oh
is. It's as
my
big as my head.
god.
as big as your
Yeah,
head.
I
I
just
I love all of
I
their
love
like
I love the
bits.
great. I mean, I love all of the pictures, but I especially like zero in onto the Grom picture. Like I love that they went to Grom. I love all of their like outfits and like the little, just the fact that we have all like these Polaroids from like earlier stages of the show with like even from Grom with like, just a few of them, and now we have like this whole big group of like friends, and it's so cool. And like V is there, and Hunter in his eccentric suit, and
Love his suit.
a very very interesting outfit with like the big bow tie and no shirt underneath, and like the flowery pattern, and like the fact that he probably made it himself with like the DIY with like probably
Oh yeah.
sewn on the patches, and
Such a
like he
loser.
did the, such a loser. But
He's a loser.
no,
Affectionate.
see,
Who is this
it's
kid?
it's camp. It's camp. People just weren't ready for it, but it's camp. Like the big pointy shoulder pads. It's camp.
That was Ida's influence, I fear.
I wonder if like Darius had to like hold back tears. He wants to be a supportive dad. And he's like, looks great, son.
I have to know what shoes he was wearing with this, because I'm guessing it was either like super super long pointed formal shoes, some kind of like cringe fail sneakers, maybe sandals or Crocs, or some
Crocs.
like
Crocs.
that
Crocs to
that
Grom.
But it has to be the Lightning McQueen ones.
Yes. And the fact that V
Yeah.
was in the Polaroid too, that made me so happy to see her
yeah.
back in the aisles and
Yeah.
happy to be in the aisles with everyone.
Yeah, the fact that she feels safe to go back to the Isles now that Belos is gone too, like it's so nice, because like she
You
wasn't able to go back before because she was she wasn't ready for it because of how much trauma that place gave her. But now she doesn't mind going there. She spends time there. It's nice to see. And yeah, there's also like this one Polaroid that makes me wonder where Lumite is in the human realm, and like Amity's ears aren't covered, and we see like one of the who was it, like a cashier or like the what one of the
the person who
people in
works
like
at
the
Robin Roast.
yeah the
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah that yeah,
With
and you can
hoodies,
see
that
like
one.
yeah, and it like makes me wonder if like maybe Gravesfield like found out about the magic, especially since there's like a human and demon realm like program
exchange. Yeah,
exchange
exchange
program.
program.
Yes,
Yeah,
like it
maybe
seems
Gus
like
contributed to that. Yeah.
yeah, so like that's interesting. uh and yeah, we see also like them playing baseball and other
Yeah.
things. It's nice.
Yes.
We
Kids
see
like that.
Luz and V graduating together, the
There's Ida
palisman
and
carver.
is
Yeah.
it There's Ida and Camila in that one picture drinking apple blood in Camila's
Yeah.
house.
Blood. And the
Oh
wine glasses have
yeah.
straws.
Yeah, bendy
Yeah.
straws,
Oh my
very
god,
very
yeah, because
fancy.
Bendy
and
straws.
thanks to them, I remember Camila's like, "What is apple blood? Maybe I can just
Yeah.
die in some apple juice or something." And then we see the
Now she'll
Polaroid
know.
in the finale, like her trying it out. Oh, like I know we
Yes.
already talked about designs, but I this is random, but I love Gus's glasses and like his hair. It's like
Ooh,
yes, it's so
yes.
good.
Yeah. I honestly I love everyone's design so much. Like just they went all out. Like they just fit everyone so well, and you can really like see that some years have passed, and like they're just so good. I love the design so much.
Can I just say I love how Luce and V have that like sister bond. It's so
Yes.
sweet.
Yeah.
So many
I
thoughts.
love the flapjack memorial.
Oh,
Thank
oh
you
my
for
god, wait.
finding me.
Thank you for finding. Wait, did
Thank you for
someone
finding
like
me.
I think someone on Twitter mentioned the flowers being forget-me-nots?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
Uh,
Oh my god, once
It
I
makes
found
me
that
emo.
out, I remember I was scrolling through Twitter and when I read that, I actually started bawling. I'm like, ugh.
Oh man, like for before we like go into like audience questions, the quinceañera scene, it was like, oh man, like so cool, like a really
Yeah.
good ending to the show, about how like the how like the collector's magic came in, and then Luz was like, they're almost gone. One, two, three, bye. It's like so. It was so cheesy. It was so perfect. And then also like King, he's since he's like he's growing now, he's he has like Titan magic, his
Yeah.
own glyphs, and I think Turquoise Space mentioned this on Twitter that the glyphs like
Yeah.
surrounding Luz in the boss battle fight, like the orb or the shield surrounding her, the orange shield has like similar glyph to King's.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. Okay. Yeah, I guess we could like move on to maybe audience questions. I don't know how many we'll be able to answer. Let me like as I'm pulling up the questions, like any thoughts about like the final scene.
Again, like Palisman Carver Hunter is just so good for like his arc and like for his character because like it really just like he's he's a creative soul. He just wants to chill and heal and like be himself, and it really just like fits in with his arc so well, especially like since he loves Paddy's and he loves creating and just like when we met him in hunting Palisman, so it's also like a full circle moment, and just like it's almost poetic with how like Belos basically made Palistroms go extinct, and now like Hunter is helping bring it all back, and like it just so good.
No, but you're so right
Yeah.
though. It's really like poetic. I love it. Finally, he can rest.
Finally, he
I'm
can
like
rest.
stepping in front of him. Get behind me. The crew can't hurt you anymore. Oh, and then detail I wonder with like Lucy's design, we see a bunch of patches like on like her pants. I like to think that like Hunter maybe like I don't know sewed it onto there, and it's like where
I believe that.
and Willow's top too, the
um
emerald entrails top,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
and his
he also has
April
Um
one
patches.
logo on it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
like
Guys, I hate to like cut off this conversation. Like I really love it, but I wanna. Okay, let me look through
Yeah, we
these
can speed
audience
run this.
questions real quick.
Do-do-do-do.
Okay.
Speed run.
Uh, what is something like related to like the finale? What is something that you wish had been included but wasn't? And I see this question a lot online, and I feel I have like mixed feelings about it. But like, thank you for like asking this question because I also have a lot of things that I wish happened, but then I had to also have to keep in mind like the crew and like what happened behind the scenes. But yeah, personally, I really wanted to see some more Caleb and Evelyn backstory, um, and like how like they met, well, I guess we kind of know, but like a little bit more about them. And I guess we could like maybe the crew could maybe like explore that, or Disney could like explore that in another like a separate story or like a comic series. But yeah, what about you guys? Like anything that you um wanted to see happen? Not maybe not in the finale, or not just in the finale, but like in the show as a whole.
Um, well, I also would have really loved to see more about like Caleb and Evelyn's story, because I feel like we technically know, but also like some things are like left up for the audience to decide. I would actually love
Mm-hmm.
to like see it. So like I'm just very curious about that. I would love to see more about like Darius and his mentor, because we know so little about like him and them, both of them actually. But it's like something that's hinted in Any Sport in a Storm and Hollow Mind. I'd love to see that arc that the crew had mentioned before with Hunter and V, with like how she wouldn't trust him at first because he was from the Emperor's Coven and all that, and then they would like develop from that. Like I feel like that had so much potential too, and like in my mind, it kind of happened off screen, but yeah. One of my delusions was also Hunter saying my name is not Caleb, it's Hunter to Belos in like one of the like final moments or something like that. I would have really loved to see it.
Yeah, I guess the same for me. Like, there's so much that could have been explored, but I understand, the time constraints and the shortening of the show. They condensed to the most important things that are really important to show. And the rest
Yeah.
could be left open because, it's fun to explore those dynamics on our own too. Even if it means you have to like, make some stuff up. But that's kind of the fun of it, honestly. I really wanted
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
this is like the Willow fan in me being sad, but I kept thinking about Willow's line about punching Belos in the face. I really thought that could happen. I just
Yes!
wanted to
Oh
see him
my
get
god.
Yeah.
punched, man.
Like,
Like
because as a major Willow fan, I was like kind of ready for that. Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Wish we could see something along the lines of that, but I'm still very satisfied with like Lilith being the one. But I absolutely agree.
Yeah. I would have loved to see like Hex Squad be there for like Bill's death, or like see their reaction to finding out that Bills is dead, but like also get that time restraints and like the episode, like the formula, how the episode should have ended, stuff like that, didn't really matched with that. But yeah.
Agree, agree. Um, Another question is what do you hope that Disney does with the Owl House universe in the future? I guess at first I really was interested in like a spin-off series with Rain, Ida, and like the older Owl House characters, because I know that Dana mentioned something like that in like a podcast or an interview. But I think what I really would like to see is like an art book. Like I'm so like noisy about it on Twitter, that I really want to see like concept art and like an art book, or or yeah, like maybe a comic series if that's in the works, because I know that I know like Gravity Falls has like physical merch of like the books in their universe, like Journal 3. So maybe something like along the lines of that. But yeah, what do you hope that Disney does with like the Owl
Mm.
House in the future? It doesn't have to be like a physical thing, but like maybe like a storyline that they could like explore, or maybe some merch.
Yeah.
Willow
um
scrapbook.
Oh,
Little
Yeah.
scrapbook.
Willow scrapbook.
Willow
Arr,
scrapbook.
arr, arr, arr.
I faded away.
I would buy it so fast. Like I feel like Disney doesn't realize how much money they could get from that. Like
Right? And then we get to
so
see
much.
more of what they did in the realm. Sorry, go
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
I would honestly just like I doubt anything animated is possible for like future content, but even like I would love comics or like a graphic novel or something of that sort. Like there is like the between the possibility of like an art book and a comic. I think I would choose a comic book, because I am still like curious about like the concepts and like behind the scenes work and all of that. but I feel like I want, more of the story. And I would love anything. Like if it was just an entire story about the Emerald Trio getting lost in IKEA, I would watch
Please.
it. I would, or read it if it
Oh
was
my
like I would literally like if
It's
it
Absolutely.
was
always IKEA.
slice of slice of
if it
life
was
stuff.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
like
Put Gus in a
literally
the
Costco.
IKEA meatballs,
Put
like
them in a Walmart.
it could be put them in a Walmart, put them in a supermarket, and it like I don't know. I could read an entire comic that is just them looking at the fridge or something, like literally anything. Like I just but there's honestly so much stuff that can be done. Like for example, like there's so much to explore, like events after the epilogue or what happened during the time skip, like during the 3 or 4 years, and like things that Hex Squad was doing when they were stuck in the human realm. Like there's a lot that could be explored about each of these characters, as well as just the world itself. Like I would love anything. Yeah.
Yeah, anything that they
Agree,
have, I
agree.
would take. I would love to see like little graphic novel. I'm not too
Yeah.
optimistic about what they might do with Owl House officially, but I will keep enjoying fan comics and fan animatics for as long as my
Yeah.
brain is like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I would love Lost
Yeah.
Adventures of the Human Realm because there's so much fun stuff
Oh,
those kids could
Ooh,
get up to
that's a
there.
title.
honest.
If y'all need someone,
I
Yes.
can work for free if they want me. Like I would
We're all raising our hands.
I can do free labor. Disney, hear me out. Like
no.
So, okay, let me see. Uh, uh, any tips on making animatics and drawing characters consistently? I also like struggle with something with this also, like making the characters look consistent. So, and I have like one technique that I use, but I want to hear you guys.
hmm. When it comes to drawing characters consistently, I feel like just the more you draw them, the more consistent they will be because you kind of get used to like the way that you draw them and like um, it starts becoming more automatic and like yeah, just the more you draw a character, the more they will look like themselves each time. So that's like my tip, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Riley is better for the animatic question.
I guess. Um I guess I'd say the same about the consistency thing. For me, it's you draw a character a bunch until you start to recognize the shapes that build up each character, and then you can begin to replicate that by putting those shapes in different positions, and suddenly you have a cool dynamic pose, and it's the same consistency, same anatomy as before. It's all about it's it's a boring answer, but it's the real answer. It's just practice.
Yeah,
And for
Yeah.
absolutely.
for animatics, oh, I guess there's a lot. There's a lot. But my thing is, I guess start small with animatics because animatics are not just uh, one drawing; it's multiple drawings, and it's timed, and it has a story behind it, and there's movement.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
whole pipeline, which can be really scary to start
Mhm.
off with. Like I've had days where I spend 10 hours on one scene and go, "Well, that's 6 seconds done. I have 3 more minutes to go." But everyone works differently when making animatics just for the fun of it. Like it's different professionally, where you're working to do this, but as a hobby or when you're doing it for fun, like I do most of the time, you have to find a pipeline that works best for you. For me personally, I start a script, I write down the script, everything that happens, whether it's just a story idea or to music, and then I make some really really awful thumbnails. I'm talking stick figures. I do not give them details.
Yeah.
I
I
make a
use like
stick
Yeah.
figure
sticky
and I write
notes.
W for Willow, I write G for Gus. That's all they get. That's their defining feature. Just to get the idea down onto paper. And then, you time
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you begin to polish it, and eventually, whether it takes a week or a month or 2 months, there's no time constraint for animatics unless it's for work. Um, it's really, you're making this. video project out of like love, I have to assume, like passion for this project. And really, it's hard to be your own personal cheerleader for it, but finding what makes you the most comfortable as an artist or creator to make that is, I think, the most important part. Because I've found what I like to do. I tend to fixate for 1 or 2 weeks on a project, and then suddenly I whip out like a 2-minute video after going dark for like 2 weeks. But that's my pipeline. That's what works for me. And other artists might be different.
think I think for me, I also struggle with like keeping the characters consistent. So what I found really helps for me is as the character designer like in me to make a turnaround of the character and like to reference that and like to draw them in my style, like front view, like a normal turnaround side view, and I think that helps for me. I agree with like everything you guys are saying. Yes. I guess also like maybe one last question before
Yeah.
I ask like my final thing. This is very lighthearted. What would your palisman be if you had a palisman?
Huh.
I think I would go for like I've been thinking about this question for a long time. I think I'd go with like a palisman of my dog, who looks like a corgi, or maybe just a corgi because I love corgis. Like they're so cute. And yeah, my dog is not a corgi, but she looks like one. So yeah, I'm a dog person. So yeah. What about you guys? Palismans.
Oh, I have an answer ready. Um,
Go go.
I've designed one for an OC, but my palisman would be, I think it's called a golden lion tamarin. It's kind of monkey. It's like very fluffy and orange, and I don't know. It just seemed like a great fit. They're very cute if you Google them. They look like little lions, but they're monkeys.
I've honestly wondered about it so long, and I still don't have like a definite answer because I feel like there are just so many different possibilities. I would, for example, I feel like if it was anything like dog-like or cat-like, I would like that. Even like, I don't know, a miniature cheetah or like a dog with wings or something, that would be cool. I feel like even like something weird, like maybe, I don't know, some kind of small dinosaur would be fun. Uh, maybe even like for something specific, maybe like a sparrow, like a bird. I like sparrows. Sparrows are nice.
I love
So
that.
maybe
For me, it's really hard to say because my favorite animal and insects are always changing. But for now, I think I'd either want like a lynx or maybe like a firefly. I know it's like that's like an insect, but I think we've seen some of that on the show. But yeah, just
hmm,
like, oh dang, it's dark out. All right, little firefly, do your thing.
they could bond with Flapjack. Flapjack is also kind of like a firefly, but
Oh my
Yes.
god.
Oh no.
Wait, wait.
Oh
I just realized. No. I was I was like,
Minecraft
no.
XP
oh,
noises.
Flapjack's emerald entrails.
oh,
Stop!
on the
his
floor.
emerald.
I think
I'm
absorb.
sorry. I will leave.
Or if I could have any palisman, I would just steal Flapjack.
Oh my
Steel
god.
project. Yes, do it. Oh, sorry, because I know we're moving on to questions. I'm surprised. As much I love waffles so much, I'm surprised we didn't see any like carved wolves. Because Hunter and his obsession for wolves.
Yar.
Rar. Rar.
Rawr.
Little Rari.
He's literally the erotic
Darius.
Steve kid.
Yeah.
Rose cringily
Rawr's
slash
cringily.
affectionate.
Rari's cringily.
Slash
That's what
silly.
he is.
But yeah, I guess like for the final question, this is a bit heavy. But like what does the owl house mean to you? Like, for me, it's like it's so cool, like seeing representation of different people and different backgrounds, and like seeing that on screen. And I never saw anything like that when I was a kid. So it's so cool that kids nowadays, or like anyone, people nowadays, can see that and feel represented on screen. And then I guess, for example, like in relation to Ida and her curse, I know like a lot of people have related her and her journey as like something related to like disabilities. And as someone with, I know this isn't really anything like other disabilities, but like I have poor eyesight. I have like very poor eyesight, and I don't have like the financial ability yet to like get cert. Oh my gosh, Riley's cat just appeared on screen. So cute. Oh yeah. But yeah, I don't really have the opportunity to like get any like eye surgery yet. So I kind of related to Ida, how her she didn't have like this cure, quote unquote cure, for her curse, but she has found a way to like deal with it and like live through it.
Also, like, it means a lot to me in general. Like, when it comes to like representation, I also really love how well the Owl House shows the neurodivergent experience really at its core. Like, in so many authentic, relatable ways too, like through so many various characters. It's just so good with like how Luz simply wished to be understood, and like how Camila wanted to prevent Luz from being bullied in school like she used to be, about like how it's just about people who don't fit in sticking together, about like being yourself. Like, it's so good in it, and just like it has so many like different neurodivergent like or like autistic coded characters and stuff like that. Like, it's so nice to see. And also like the LGBT representation is also just very very groundbreaking, and it's also like so big to see in a Disney show at that. And also like the fact that if we've already talked about it, but like how grief is a core theme of the show, like we can see it in different characters, stuff like that. Like, I just love the themes of the Owl House, and like just in general, it's fun. It has nice, topics, and it's nice, like it's a show about witches. It's a show about witches, about like magic. It's fun, and like I've surely just like had a good experience with it. I had fun. I've made lots of like friends through it, and yeah, developed my art. Like, yeah,
How
Pretty
about you
much
guys?
the same here. I love the Owl House for everything it represents, whether it's the LGBT representation, the representation for neurodivergency, especially in young people growing up. Um,
mm,
I like that you can kind of see yourself in every character, the not bad
yeah,
ones, I mean, hopefully. But you can like see yourself in Ida's struggle, you see yourself in Luce's struggle, Hunter's struggle, Willow's struggle, anyone's struggle. You can kind of they show it in like such a way that even like you can find it relatable. And like I feel like if I had had the Owl House when I was a kid, it really would have helped me. Like it wasn't out until I was around
yeah,
20. Um, but I know that kids today are so fortunate to be able to have TV shows like the Owl House if they feel like season 1 Luce episode 1 where she's kind of like uh struggling in the human realm. Hopefully they also like find comfort in Luce and like all the characters in the show, like basically everyone has. I don't know, it's hard to articulate, but it means a lot to so many people and for very good reason.
I think Nicole and Riley put it into perfect words. The Owl House has such great representation, and it's just so easy to relate to the characters. I know I would have loved something like this growing up. It has inspired so many people. I'm just like very, very thankful for what they have been able to do with the story and how they've like, carried it so well despite it all. Um, so yeah, I guess this concludes this episode of the first podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for like agreeing to like jump on this. This was so fun to talk to you all. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.